Wukusu, peace, black power, and welcome to Harlem Liberation School's YouTube channel. Harlem Liberation School is a black nationalist, pan-African community organization based in Harlem. We provide relevant and credible political education to help black people wake up, clean up, and stand up, in the words of Brother Malcolm X. To do this, we provide panel discussions, political commentary, mini documentaries, leadership tips, classes, and interviews with some of our most dedicated and effective leaders, activists, and intellectuals around the world. Peace and Black Power families, brother Agyei Tyehimba from Harlem Liberation School, where we teach black people to wake up, clean up, and stand up. As you know, this is our monthly Freedom Files Political Prisoner Report broadcast, where we do our best to bring you the most relevant and important information regarding the status, some of the definitions, give you a basic understanding of what's going on with our political prisoners and the things you can do to activate, not just be upset and talk about it, but to activate around helping to free them all, as we say in that particular movement. With me, we have in our monthly broadcast, brother joining me, who is certainly, amongst other things, one of our experts in this particular area, longtime organizer, uh, uh, member of the Provisional Government of the Republic of New Africa, political educator, brother down at the George Jackson University, and has been on the ground doing so many important things with many of our revolutionaries. Our brother Bomani, Uhuru, Jihad, Shakur. I want to bring him on.
Free to land.
Peace, my brother. How you be?
I'm well, brother. How about yourself?
I'm well, man. And I also want to bring on a brother who I met, at least virtually, recently over the phone, thanks to brother Bomani, our brother Taribu Shakur. If I mispronounce his name, I hope he will correct me when we bring him in. I want to bring our good brother in. Peace, good brother.
Peace, brother.
Good to see you, man. Good to see you.
Good to see y'all too, brothers.
No
All right.
doubt, no doubt.
So,
Free to land.
family, those of you watching who are watching live, I know a lot more watch the recorded versions. This is definitely a time, if you can get your questions in, we'll do our best to answer them within our 45-minute period. We ask that if you miss any of this, don't be lazy now. Go back. It's going to be recorded. Go back, rewind, and start from the beginning. We ask that you don't be selfish and share all this beautiful information with yourself right now. Share the link with 2, 3, 4, 5 other Africans and New Africans. Spread the word. That said, tonight we are talking about a very important topic. It is foundational. I don't like to be a person that talks exclusive, but I'm pretty sure you cannot say you're conscious as an African, a new African, a black man, or woman, and know nothing about COINTELPRO. I don't know if that's a fair statement, but our show here, we're going to assume that you don't know, right? And we're going to teach you tonight about COINTELPRO and in a general way about state repression via COINTELPRO. And this is very important to understanding the issue of political prisoners, as you will see. So let me throw this question out first, my good brothers. When we talk about, first of all, what is COINTELPRO? If someone could give us just a quick bite-sized breakdown, anybody or both of you, what is COINTELPRO?
Okay. Well, I can give you a breakdown. COINTELPRO was a program designed by the Federal Bureau of Investigation in 1956. It was designed to neutralize any kind of radical development or movement that was going on, particularly at the time, the Communist Party USA. Where we understand that Communist Party US also had new African members at that time as well, but the new slide brought to the Communist Party itself. Whereas in the 1960s, they pushed it to intensify, neutralize anything that was dealing with the black revolutionary, black power, or anything with that black radical or positive to neutralize it because of fear of the black messiah against state repression, against the people. So the basic was a program that was neutralized to kill our organization, kill our leadership, detach it away from family, community, and nationhood, and basically systematically, physically and mentally enslave us. They just there's a quick answer to it, from my understanding.
That's right. Yes, sir. Brother Tariba, did you want to add on to that, good brother?
I think in a nutshell, because we dealing with time management too, and what Comrade Bomani said, I think that's appropriate. But it's I want to say it was a form of genocide. It was just a form of a genocidal campaign. But the main thing was to try to neutralize the rise of the Messiah. They said they didn't want a Messiah to rise among us. You know, a leader that can mobilize and galvanize and electrify the people to get our freedom, because freedom has always been a quest for us since we've been put on this land.
That's right. That's right. I want to thank my good brothers for the excellent breakdowns. Nut bite size so y'all can get the basics of it. And if you want to know more, we'll have a link in the description section. And we're going to be talking about it more anyway. I think it's interesting, y'all, that they started with banging on the leftists, the so-called white leftists, right? And then as civil rights and black power come to the forefront, we became the new and the most important target, which is important, I think, because it shows the white man looks at many people as adversaries. He don't just look at black people or black radicals. If he looks at a group of people who he feels will encroach on his territory, right? Or advance a narrative or a politic that they disagree with, they're thrown in enemy category. And I think we need to think like that too, that we may have more enemies than just the typical European that we typically know and teach about. And that's something to think about that Amos Wilson told us too. But anyway, a lot of people would tell you that COINTELPRO never ended. I think all three of us agree with that, that it just changed forms. But to give viewers some actual evidence of that, what would you say are some things we see right now going on in the United States or abroad that bears witness that COINTELPRO is still here, family? What would y'all say to that?
Well, uh, okay. I'm gonna say one thing that sure still exists is that we still have control management units within the United States in various prisons, right? The control management unit for oppressing brothers and sisters that were behind enemy line for their political beliefs and validate them as some kind of political hate group or security threat group. So that's an extension of it. Another extension of it is when recently over the last 5 years, they created a label called Black Identity Extremists, in which various individuals that were locked up by the feds, mainly people like Minister King, Rakim Balagoon. Those brothers were locked up by those, you those certain labels. And those labels of black extremists was the same label they utilized in the 60s and 70s to neutralize our movements. And I yield.
Thank you for that, Brother Bomani. Brother Taribu, how would you add on to that, brother?
Being that my development, my Nicene development, and you can say all of my Nicene development as well as my epitome, I would say too, it was all really developed in the bowels of the beast in the prison system. I would definitely say is definitely there. I have to concede with Comrade Bomani about that, because in there the repression, we don't really grasp the real profundity of repression. But when you in that dark place, it's really profound, because they use anything against you, as I expressed, I think when I first spoke with you, brother, is that they use your books, they use letters, they use music, they use anything that's written or give off any type of sound or art. They use that all against you. And then they would take that when they're using it against you too and say that you're part of an extremist radical, just as Bomani said. And so it's very bad, because for those of us that was in the bowels of the beast, we can't get home, because they have placed us in communicano. We in these dark places in isolation in the shoe. So we can't really talk to nobody. So we cut off mail that's coming in to us. We might not get it if we get it, we might not get it for months. You know, the mail that we sent out, the people may not get it. In California, it's so the laws are so draconian in California because being that California was really a hotbed of revolutionary, more of a hotbed of revolutionary because we got Comrade George that came from here. They cut us off in 1996. They made the prisoners civilly dead because they got rid of the prisoners' Bill of Rights. So thereby we couldn't get at media no more through confidential mail. We couldn't send out when I mean by media, I mean like any type of media, whether it was the news, they couldn't come see us. They had to get permission. So they cut us off and then with their collaborators too. So it's serious. That's what it's serious. It's here. It's still morphed itself, and it got many names. Bomani just brought it back to me. I have forgot the name. They extended to the streets where it's called the SSU, the Special Security Unit, where they go out and they just like to crash people's homes and stuff. But in the prison, in the California prisons, it's called IGI, the Institutional Gang Investigators. Because anytime two or more people come together that's doing something positive, progressive, or revolutionary, no matter where it is in this American empire, they coin it as a gang.
Now I'm going to come back to that in a moment because that's very, Brother Tariq, for those who don't know, did a significant amount of time behind the walls, got, I believe, radicalized, politicized there, hit the ground running, never turned back. And it's very interesting. A piece of his story I want him to talk about in a minute that speaks to what he just said. But for now, we know that informants and agents use divide and conquer tactics. That's a key part of COINTELPRO. How would you say that those strategies show up inside of our movements today, or our organizations? And what are a few things we can do to try to kind of sabotage their effort to sabotage us?
I'm gonna go first this time, Comrade Bomani, if you don't mind. I think one thing what we have to do is vet out the people that's coming to us with a high lot of big words, like talking about they just want to blow stuff up and do stuff that it ain't. We don't know who you are. Where did you come from? You ain't been vetted. You ain't been ferreted out to know who the hell you are. You know what I'm saying? You coming in with all this high potent language, and we don't even know if you even got the right morale yet. If you got what type of morality did you have first? If you don't have no morality, we don't need you coming to us talking about no armed defense, nut.
That's right.
You get what I'm saying? Because all we know, that's a clear sign. That's a red flag that you're an agent provocateur. And so the main places where they always try to come in first is they can be part of this security apparatus of you. And then come to find out these people have the most dastardly among us. It's no different than us seeing the orange man right now, Trump. This stuff he say, I'm gonna destroy a whole civilization.
Mm-hmm.
So we got to be careful about these people coming in with all this false sense of bravado and false sense of machismoism. I think that's what we got to stop that right there. And we have some people, and I'm not going to name no names right now, but we see them all the time. They just pop up out of nowhere. No one knows you. We can't find no real good track record on you. I'll rest it with that. I'm going to get past it to the comrade.
Yes, sir. If y'all can't see me, I'm in here shaking my head so hard it's about to come off. Because that's right and exact. That's what I teach. I teach that all the time in political education class. Brother Bomani, what are you going to say, good brother?
Okay. What I'm gonna do? I'm in agreement with the brother Tariq, right? But this is the thing. This is the thing I'm also looking at. You know, in order for a lot of you organizations to be infiltrated, or for them to be infiltrated, right? They gotta have a low level of security already. The security level, the Islam got to already be low. And in the midst of that, when organized with different individuals, organized formation or collections or whatever, the premise thing got to be education first. In regards to the education, that they got to go through a thorough political education process in regards to what exactly is it provocateurs, what is the difference between the provocateur that actually paid, the ones who are actually not being paid by the government, the concepts of provocateur, the aspect of wannabes, and so forth and so forth, other terminologies that derail and infiltrate leadership within the organization and structure, like the aspect of cronyism, or the aspect of homeboyism, or nepotism. Those certain types of ideologies and experiences and the prototype must be known and understood by the people in the organization and collective formation, so that when security come around, they have a strong security basis. They be able to recognize certain things for people, ways of action, their mentality. Just like Brother Tariq said, the common way to get in, all be in the military aspect. I'm gonna be the minister of defense. I'm gonna be control Usalam. I need to secure the chairman. I need to secure the president. I need to secure the spokesperson. I need to do this. I need to be protected. And then the whole time, once they get a security apparatus, they get a hold to the military and the armory. They start using that provocative mentality to get folks to do certain things, like, oh, we're gonna rob their bank, escrow it, we're gonna do this, we're gonna do the raise fund for the organization to get people involved in criminal activities. So we need to be aware of those things. Like we can use certain moves as prototypes. We can look at movies like Burn. We can look at movies like Battle of Agyei. We look at movies like Spook Salvador, other movies like that as basic assimilations to put ourselves in that particular mind state to educate ourselves so we see what to do and what not to do and gain that experience, but also look at the experience of other people that actually been COINTELPRO victims. Look at what happened to Chairman Fred. Look what happened to Mark Clark. Look what happened to Bunchy Carter. Look what happened to all these different individuals that were doing certain things and how it operated, how it took off. Study individual their history and legacy and gain understanding. And I yield.
Yes, sir. Thank you for this is a rich conversation. Those of y'all watching, if you don't know, you better ask somebody. It's rich. People giving you foundational knowledge and they're backing up with actual factuals. I want to only add one of the things I think they do too, my brothers. I'd be interested to know what you think. Is one of the things that we do that can get in the way, that can aid and abet what our enemies do with COINTELPRO tactics, is we over-energize things. So, for instance, this FBA thing going on. I'm just going to take that right now, right? Our job is to expose that, critique that, and stay and let that go. Now it's the job of the people to follow up. What we have in shows and our whole channel is based on FBA and talking about them, or talking about Umar Johnson, I think that plays into their hands, because what that does is it aids this idea of resentment, intergroup tension, people infighting, and that never helps us. I do think we have a responsibility to call people out, to call things out, but when our whole life becomes that, that's not what the mission is about. And I would add that. Now, some say that the existence of political prisoners in the United States, let's focus on the Black political prisoners, is a direct attempt to silence, using, let's say, criminal charges and prison sentences as an attempt to silence Black resistance. Do you agree or disagree? And please explain.
Well, when we talking about COINTELPRO, we talking about the destruction of our leadership, right? Like, for instance, okay, now Chairman Fred Hampton was the chairman of the Chicago Black Channel Party chapter. You killed a leadership who's charismatic, who's also young, who's also influential, and the way they did it through infiltration, it creates a different silo within the community. It created a different a lack of substance within the organization, right? Because you don't kill leadership. The same thing with Bunchy Carter in LA. When they killed Bunchy Carter, who was leadership of the LA Black Panther chapter, it created a silo. And from these silos, it brings for people that are not educated, criminal activity. It brings for a criminal organization. It brings for a criminal mentality and so forth. Because leadership had been annihilated. Like we look at it. We can take it all back to when Nat Turner rebelled. Nat Turner had a rebellion. You had a stool pigeon on. Somebody who actually snitched on him. Then one Visa, the same thing. These different slave rebellions had different individuals that turned state. You know, so they had the same provocateur mentality that COINTELPRO agents have, or provocateurs have. They had the same mentality to neutralize leadership. Once our leadership is neutralized, our people can go back to physical slavery, physical bondage, mental bondage, spiritual slave, economic slave. They can be oppressed. and go through the different acts of servitude. So we see that same process going on today with our different leadership, especially when they go to assassinate Malcolm X, Martin Luther King, so forth and so on. They assassinate Conrad George. And various other individuals. So many you can the name to look at. Those are examples of what COINTELPRO actually utilizing to destroy everything, to destroy our movements. But we got to think about looking at the spook sat by a door. They gave an interesting analogy saying that okay, if somebody in the country get killed who's in a position, somebody take 2 steps forward, somebody move up, another person takes a step behind them to actually create leadership in an organization. Now we think like that from a cadre perspective that okay, everybody in the cadre know the function, everybody else in the cadre position and status, then it's gonna be hard to kill leadership because everybody's leader because cadre is single up here, everybody's a leader. So that's the standpoint we should take in regard to so many things to actually combat it. That's just my opinion. But I yield.
Thank you for that, Brother Bond. Brother Taribu.
And what was that question again? I want to make sure I'm following it right.
Yes, sir. The question is, some are arguing that this very concept and the practice of having political prisoners, in this case, let's say black political prisoners in the U.S., is an attempt to surveil and silence black resistance in and of itself. And do you agree or disagree? And how would you add on to that?
Yeah, I think because I think that many of the those that have a shared and lived experience, I believe, and this is just like when you speak about any military apparatus per se, though, too, is that you just can't walk in and become a general. You had to been through certain theaters of war before you become a general or before you become a major or colonel or something like that. You have to go through certain, but if you haven't had certain military expertise, you don't supposed to be going. And that's indicative of this empire right now. You have a clown right now, Pete, per se, that's all the way at the top, but this is really a drunk. So you going back to morality. I want to go, we got to go to morality. And where was you at first? Did you follow? Was it a pecking order that you went through? Or did you just get pumped and pushed into an order and no one even really, accepts you like that or embrace you like that? And so your self-pontification. It can be no self-pontification in that. But yeah, they do because they know that we are the ones. It's just like I could give an example of this. And it's not trying to slight no other areas. But I'm just looking at just for what it was. When you look in the 60s, the first real rebellion in the 60s that took place was Burn Baby Burn in 1965. Okay, a lot of places, brothers was marching and doing stuff, but it was the Burn Baby Burn in 1965 that really kicked off the other ones. So come when Martin Luther King got assassinated, that made the other places going to kick it up a little bit more. Now I'm gonna go bring it a little bit more up a little. You could go back a little bit, but to 1992, when everybody else was walking the bridges and all this stuff, I'm talking about all over this damn empire. LA said after the Reginald Denny, not the Reginald Denny, after the Rodney King, and they said not guilty, they say the hell with that. Then they're gonna come into the H-Ray gangster community, which was, a formation that's a street formation, but that's the same street formation that Sanyika Shakur come from, my late comrade. That was 7 days, my junior, only 7 days. I missed that brother too. They went when that happened, it was just we going up now. It's some things are spontaneous. True, but when they find out that you got that element among you that will resist, that have resistance in them to that degree, they try to stifle you. They try to, everything in the COINTELPRO, they try to neutralize you. They try to bad jacket you, or they just outright kill you. And they generally use this by these. So I'm gonna say I got to use this word of it. These ninjas. These ninjas, and ninja is not a term of endearment to me. Whenever I use the word ninja, I want to tear off half your head. It's no term of endearment. You know what I'm saying? Whether you're the house ninja and the house ninja, and whether you're the one on the street and you know better, but you still doing all this stuff. You still pumping drugs in our community. You still pimping our women, all this type of stuff. If they doing bad, you don't compound their trauma with putting them out on the so-called blade or whatever you call. That's not helping them. You don't compound, you help them out of that situation. You meet them where they at, but you don't leave them where they at, whether it's our women, our children, or whoever it is. You know, you don't push them down in the ground further. So yeah, this is, they really try to, because we are the ones that can take on. So I'm saying that a lot of what I seen from where I come from, and it's not trying to be chauvinistic, but I come from a place that we have more of resistance. We ain't, if it go down, we going up. Forget that all that talk. Let's sit it on up, right? But once they get it organized up under proper leadership, that's a whole different story. But first, they got to have the morality. So morality is important to me. In one of our books called The Vita Wawa 2, the brother spoke about revolutionary morality. It's important that we have morals. We don't want to take on the traits of our oppressors. So they know that many of us, this is what we start doing. And those of us in prisons that's in the bowels of the beast that say, no, we got to do better. We trying to make ourselves better. When you know better, you do. When you know better, you do better. This thinking got to change. And so it got to be actual. We got to actualize that out here in this world, on this larger plantation. So yeah, they do come down on us harder.
Brother Tyehimba, I want to also pick up on something that you shared on the phone. Obviously, if you're uncomfortable discussing it, you'll let us know, right? We don't want anybody saying stuff they don't want to say. But the brother, for those watching, what I'm trying to get people to see with this is that this political prisoner concept is part and parcel of an attempt to squash Black resistance and rebellion, right? Because they have all these brothers locked up and increasingly more sisters locked up. A lot of these brothers are reading, they're congregating, they're raising consciousness, right? They working out, physical, mental, the whole piece. Behind the wall, which is built to destroy them, many of our brothers are coming there and resurrecting themselves and come back out and are doing major work in these communities. So if you can put more and more of us behind the wall, give longer prison sentences, have these corrupt correctional officers beating them up and setting them up and doing what they do, then that's a way of silencing the movement. But Tyehimba, you said something that is very deep on the phone. You said, and I want you to talk about it, if you can, that you were in for one thing and you had a certain sentence, but because you became conscious, could you talk about that? That's deep.
I took a 7 to life. The mental faculty that I have of today is not what I had of yesterday. This attorney basically robbed me, my mother, and my late grandmother, and my late great grandmother. This attorney led me to believe that I could get life without the possibility of parole for a 209B kidnapped for the purpose of robbery in California. I could never get that sentence. The statutory law of that didn't carry life without the possibility of parole, because in the commission of my offense, I never did lay so much as a finger on the victims. I just expropriated funds from them. Okay, but I didn't know. I was ignorant of the law, and I was asking for 20 flats, so I ended up taking 7 to life. So thinking that getting away from life without the possibility of parole, thinking that I would led to believe that I would get out within 7 years at the earliest, 13 at the longest. So I went in 85, so I would have got out in 92, 7 years at the latest, 98 or something like that. But I didn't get out till 2021, and it was a feat. Okay, so once I changed, when I went in this swashbuckling thug and this hooligan Compton Crip, and since I was all I knew was Crip for life. But once I met a lot of these brilliant minds in there, and I started to educate myself and apply myself, that led me to see that I can't, live a contradiction no more, because my consciousness is being raised. And so I decided in good faith, without telling on anybody, according to those norms, to the culture of prison culture, the street culture, without running out on nobody, without getting kicked out of it. I decided to no longer be a Crip and let the old form of me, Cadillac, that was the name, rest in peace. I never resurrected him. So I didn't I didn't jump out of the frying pan into the fire. The powers that be, they frowned upon this. These powers, these wicked people. they, long as I was still an unconscious, unreconstructed ninja, they was cool with that. But once I became a revolutionary brother and thought and everything and became spiritual, then embraced Islam 2 years after 89, after I became Tyehimba Shakur, too, that even heightened it more because they seen Islam really as the antithesis to all they stand for, you know? And so it is crucial. So my time became more, it was acting like in California that everybody, once you become conscious, they would act like everybody became part of the Black Guerrilla family. Not knocking a structure or nothing, not knocking none of my predecessors' structures, whether they was Vanguard, Crips, Blue Notes, CCO, whatever the UBN or these different groups we have, Bloodline. I'm not knocking none of them, but I didn't see nothing credible enough in prison for me to annex myself with. So I got at NAPO in 1989, and they got back at me. And when they got back at me, I was cool with that because Sayika Shakur was the first person that exposed me to the provisional government of the Republic of New Africa. He was the first person that exposed me to the Vita Wawa tools, to the theoretical journals. He was the first one who exposed me. Him and Talib Shakur was the first people to expose me to Assata Shakur's book, to move attention. And so I couldn't live a contradiction. So that the powers that be, once they see you in there trying to raising your people up and you taking them from a reactionary mind state to a revolutionary mind state, you become a problem. Because just like in COINTELPRO too, what they said about what their chief concern is they don't want the prisons to become a hotbed of revolutionaries.
My brother, that right there should really help people understand. Am I correct? You may have mentioned it. Didn't they lengthened your sentence once you became conscious?
So my sentence was, I was constantly put on because of what Comrade Bomani was talking about. Informants. These people, the most dastardly people in there with the most dastardly deeds is doing everything up under the sun that's acting like they quasi-Muslims or pseudo-revolutionaries and all this, right? This would be the main ones working in tandem with Agyei, with the institutional gang investigators, making up outlandish lies on you, you know? And that was the result. So my time, every time when I go to the board, I'm getting hit with confidential, what they call 1030s. More confidential information is being put on me. You know, and you can't fight this confidential information because it's like a ghost. The board of prison terms want you to be open and transparent with them, but they dealing with you in cloak and dagger, right? So you dealing with, it's just like right now you like with our Native American brothers and sisters said, when the white man comes, be careful because they talk with a forked tongue, or beware of Greeks bearing gifts. You know, this is just what it is. And so we have our house ninjas among us, these unreconstructed ninjas, is foul. They do anything to get high. They co-opt, and many of them, that's how many of them is co-opt, just to get high, get a little bit of gold. You get that unreconstructed ninja some gold, he loses his mouth. He loses his mind. You get to put something in his mouth, a grill and a toothpick or something, a couple of glasses that got some gold. He just loses his. He go further. Whatever he do, he sell everybody out. You know, and so that's what we dealing with. So that but those of us that's lacking morality, and we got to be able to say we can't be bleeding heart liberals. You know, we can't. We got to be able to call a ball and a strike, even among our people. And I want to bring it up even more contemporary. I believe that our late comrade and elder Chokwe Lumumba, I don't believe he just died of just back, who was the mayor of Jackson, Mississippi, that he just died, just all of a sudden he got heart problems and didn't have none of that at first. Anytime they see us rising up, whether it's out here on a larger plantation or in that smaller plantation, they own us. They trying to neutralize us. And that's why you got to have the right, what Bomani said about making sure that we have the right things in place, for the education, that's important. That's very important. They got our people must be educated about to be able to assess these nuts out, these opportunists out. So that's why my time became more longer, because I was able to raise up a lot of our brothers in there and to become very good stand-up men.
Yes, sir. People watching, then I'm going to go to Brother Bomani to get ready to close us out. But those of y'all watching, it's very important what he just said and that you hear that. Because presumably those of you who think the prison system is there to rehabilitate you, that should completely have murdered that idea in your mind. If the prison system is there to rehabilitate you, then as the brother is reading, he's not getting involved in no problems, he's doing what he got to do, then he should have been getting out of prison in a short amount of time. But because they're not there to rehabilitate you, it's a form of punishment. In this conversation, we say state repression. That's what that is, to repress you, right? So he gets punished, and many comrades of his and ours get punished as they read, meditate, pray, exercise, have discussion, and stay out of trouble, right? So that's very important.
Not trying to cut your wisdom before, but I just want to say this last. They do have a form of rehabilitation things that they're putting forth in the California prisons now. This started with Arnold Schwarzenegger, but really what it is to lobotomize you, brother. Did you hear what I said? And so that'd be another subject. It's to lobotomize you, brother. Not that they don't not try. You know what I'm saying? It's to lobotomize you. They want to train you like a dog, not educate you. Remember, the brother said educate. Bomani said educate, but they want to train you and lobotomize you so you don't have no sense of resistance in you to any of their oppression.
Duly noted. Duly noted. You're getting it here, HarlemLSchool. We got Brother Bomani Shakur, Uhuru Jihad Shakur, Brother Tyehimba Shakur, giving you that heat as relates to political education to understand COINTELPRO and state repression. Brother Bomani, as we close out, brother, what did we miss in this discussion? What nuance, what piece did we miss in talking about COINTELPRO and this relationship to state repression that our viewers really need to know before we leave?
Okay, well, the first thing we need to know is that a lot of our people didn't even know that it existed during the time period that it existed, right? It wasn't revealed until it existed into 1971 when the city commission to investigate COINTEL, to investigate the FBI, they broke into an office in Pennsylvania in 1971, right? They broke into an office and they revealed all the FBI files. They started presenting, they started letting the management be aware of it. But the PAs didn't find out who these people were until later on in like 2014 when some of them started revealing themselves. And a lot of them already died. They started making movies about them and books and things of that nature, right? So all the time, brothers were conducting themselves like, for instance, when RNA was attacked in 1969 in New Bethel Church, right? That they were actually a COINTELPRO hit, when they were attacked then. But we look at a lot of the hits of people like Chairman Fred, the individual that were attacked, the RNL-11, Conrad George Jackson, even the attacks in the prison system, we must be aware of those things. But another thing I want people to be aware of that in 1962, right, the federal government had a meeting in Washington, D.C., and the meeting was to neutralize the effects, the awareness and education of people in the prison movement in 1962 in regards to heightening the consciousness. So what they started doing, they started, like Brother Three was saying, they started to experiment with our people in prison and outside of people in regards to what they term as mind control, things of that nature, right? And because they knew then that it was a threat in regard to the awareness of the political movement. Because that time, 1962, but you didn't hear a lot of talks about revolutionary black movements. It wasn't no Panther Party at that time period. It wasn't no Republic of Africa. RAM just had been established, so there's a lot of effect to this standpoint. But I just want everybody to know that the roots of all of this goes all the way back to ancestors of slavery coming, ancestors of our catcher ancestors that brought us to slavery and catching people out of all this mass incarceration, COINTELPRO, slavery, so forth and so on, right? Now, yeah, with that.
Want to thank my brother Bomani. Want to thank my brother Tyehimba Shakur. I wanted to, brother Tyehimba had put up, I believe, a way to contact him. I think his I want to try to add that up so you can see it. Hold on. Brother Tyehimba, this is your website?
This is my website, and also I'm sitting also. I thought that it would be nice to share with the people unless they want my book, From Crip to Muslim, Never Been a Child.
Absolutely.
I thought I would, but that's my website right there. Yes, it is.
And can they find the book there as well at the website?
Yeah, they can sign it there. They can sign it also on Amazon and Barnes and Nobles too. And if anybody is in California, particularly in Northern California, I'm in the Bay Area right now. They can just get the books. Just hit me up, and I'll give them the book. I get all my royalties to myself. But it's really about educating, raising the consciousness of the people. But I just want them to see that all of us, no matter how bleak our background may be, we not the sum of something that we did in our past. Because I break a window in 1969 don't mean that I become the noun and become a window breaker. It means that I did the verb, I did the action, and I broke a window. You know what I'm saying? But I don't mean that I'm now a window breaker. I broke a window in 1969. So sometimes it's things that they got about us that ain't legitimate, and we need to debunk all that stuff. And one of the first persons that I say that we seen that we really attached to, and many of us still really attach ourselves to, is the late Omar Wali El Haj Malik El Shabazz, Malcolm X. Many of us really attached to him, but also we got to look at our comrade too, Comrade George Lester Jackson. So if we see that they really change, we can see the change can be true for all of us that been in prison too and changed our lives. It's very important.
That's right.
Yes, I just want to put that out there because sometimes our shared experience and lived experience is overlooked.
Yes, sir. Thank you for that. People,
thank you.
Check out. Yes, sir. Thank you, good brother and brother Bomani. Check out our brother's website, Brother Tyehimba. Check out his book. If you can't afford it, then share the link with somebody who might buy it. We gotta stop being lazy with this, family. We gotta be the way we are when we getting that money up for that weed, for them trees. We get the money up for that liquor. we trying to find out what shoes we gonna wear, which sister we gonna kick it to. Take that same energy for foolishness and apply it to the things that will advance our people and protect us. For real. So if you don't stop making excuses, if you can't buy it, share that link. If you can't watch the show, share the link. Share with as many Africans, New Africans as you can, family. I want to thank our good brothers. Brother Tyehimba, we got to get you back, man. We got to just do a broadcast to talk about your book, man, and tell us about it, and let's promote that. All right?
I'm with that, brother. I'm with anything that's about elevating, raising the consciousness of our people, because it was a lot of brilliant minds that I met, and it was just to say that I wasn't influenced by a lot of other people would be I would be a remiss, to say that, man. I was influenced. It was a lot of brilliant minds in there, and it's so sad that people think that that is not, the prison done damn near became the so-called the New African Man's of university, It's the underground. Yeah. It's the real underground. It's the hidden university for many of us in America, because that's what they try to do with us, is lock us all up.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And it speaks to our resilience too, right? They put us in a dungeon that's supposed to break us completely, and yet some of our stone cold warriors come out of that experience.
Yeah.
Right? So it says a lot about our people, man. That's really amazing when you think about it. Almost miraculous when you think about it. Family, go to that website, check out his book, share it if you can't. Come back here every second Wednesday, 6:30 p.m. Eastern, Brother Bomani is going to be introducing us to all types of people. We're going to be exploring all types of topics, but it's all going to be anchored around political prisoners. I made a personal commitment this year. I said, Brother Agyei, you do this and you do that, but you got to do more about the political prisoners, because these are brothers and sisters that put their lives and their freedom on the line, and many of them are languishing in the white man's dungeons, and people ain't writing them, people ain't sending them no commissary, people not keeping their spirits up. So I made a person, and
No doubt.
I contacted Brother Bomani. I said, Brother Bomani, we got to do something about this. He to me is an expert in this area, so I defer to him. Like, brother, we got to team up and do something about this, because this bothers me. It actually bothers me when I saw brother, I forget his Muslim name, but brother H. Rap Brown with this huge protruding growth out his cheek, and he's an elder.
Yeah.
Or Mutulu Shakur gets out and he dies very soon. Or Geronimo Pratt. I'm like, we gotta blow the whistle on this. We gotta do things to get our people out at a time where they can enjoy their lives. They can come back into the community as distinguished jegnas and teach the babies. So this is our effort to do it. And if any of you have topics that you'd like us to address around this issue, please submit them. You can go to HarlemLSchool@gmail.com, HarlemLSchool@gmail.com, if you have any things that you want to share, some topics. Imam Jamil Alami, thank you, good brother. Yes, sir. Right. So yes. So with that said, unless there's any last words, good brothers, any last words?
My last word is you know we gotta free all the elders and free all the political prisoners, right? Right now, I'm pushing a campaign to free Abdul Lugabar Secure. We got information, we got propaganda, we got designs, we got leaflets, we got brochures and so forth. So we got template utilized to attack the state with, and we pushing a campaign to get them out, and you want to learn more about the campaign, you can email me. You can email me at boomani80@gmail.com, which is BOMANISHAKUR80@gmail.com. You hear what's awesome, you hear what's awesome, you hear what's awesome. Freedom now, freedom now, freedom now, free the land. Peace.
I would like
Peace.
to add on to Comrade Bomani or Agyei, is that yeah, we definitely want to help our brothers and sisters that's still languishing in the bowels of this beast. We want to do everything we can, and so I'm definitely constantly in connection with different brothers that's still locked up in these stoops, particularly more so in California. But I plan to branch out more, possibly with more than likely it would be with Bomani, because it seemed like Bomani got more of outside of California for sure, right? And so, but yeah, we could raise funds, and some of the funds that will be coming from my book, I'm definitely going to be contributing that to brothers and sisters that's in there in them stoops, but I think we need to get a team of righteous lawyers or start to work with the students at schools, like the law students, and see could they, in their internship, could they work to help many of our brothers and sisters that's still in these stoops. Because I did have help too on that level too, but ultimately I had to litigate myself out. Another whole story. That's how I got out. I litigated myself out. So
you remind me of my comrade Deruba Ben Wahad, man. He did 19 years for a crime he did not commit. Turned out he went through he got his files, 300,000 pages just on him. For those who don't know, he's in New York City Black Panther leadership. He's a co-founder of the Black Liberation Army, and he litigated himself out as well, and sued the NYPD and sued the FBI and won. But it's a shame, even when you're exposing that you were mistreated, it's like you got to do a lot of that work yourself. So it just shows you, man, what we're up against here. But if we work together, family, there's nothing they can put on us that we cannot successfully resist. I wake up and go to bed thinking it every day, because that's the only way you're going to survive this. There's a lot of distractions out here, right? They want to get you so mad at Trump that you ain't thinking straight. So mad at the Iran war, you're not thinking straight. Be upset, but be strategic and be thinking, what can I do about it? What can we do together? I'm really happy that we had this broadcast, family. I want to thank you all for your sharp insight and your experiences that really make this such a rich broadcast. For those of you who's getting ready to end, is going to go into record. If you came late, no worries. Go back and start it from the beginning. Check it out and share with other people. With that said, family, we're going to say peace and black power. We're going to say free the land. We're going to say we will win. We're going to say the HarlemLSchool greeting, wake up, clean up, stand up, wukusu to the family. And we'll be back in next month with another powerful broadcast for you. Again, any comments, please email them to me. Bomani put up an email. Go back, listen to him say it towards the end of the broadcast, email him. Do not be lazy with this, family. Be very highly energized with this. That's the way we're going to win. Laziness will get us nowhere. Right? Thank y'all, family. Peace and black power. Free the land.
Free the land. Promotion to Tashina.